Hi guys, today I'm going to talk about vaginal steaming, or in Malay known as bertangas. I'm going to watch a video by Dr. Amalina Bakri where she asks if vaginal steaming after giving birth, is it actually good or not? Lots of women ask, Doctor, after I give birth, do I have to steam my vagina? Let me clear this up once and for all. It is not necessary and not recommended by medical professionals. Your vagina can clean itself. You do not need to do herbal steams to detox. In fact, steaming can cause burns, irritation, and disrupt the natural balance of your vaginal flora. If we steam our vagina with the hot steam, you can cause the wounds from your birth or stitches it would take a long time to heal or become worse. Your body knows how to heal. What you need is rest, hygiene, and medical follow-up, not dangerous treatments. You can wash your vulva with warm water. Respect your culture, but do not be afraid of knowledge. You're healing your way. It starts out quite strong, I think. It's saying that vaginal steaming is not necessary. And then towards the end, she kind of leaves it up to you. Like, it's your culture, so you can do it if you feel like it, but don't be afraid of knowledge, scientific knowledge. And here in the caption, she says, vaginal steaming after giving birth, is it actually good or not? People say it helps shrink the uterus, get rid of wind, and heal faster. But what does the science say? Let's read some of the comments. Nad Fordia said, thank you for the sharing, doctor. It's refreshing. Now I know what to avoid during my confinement. And Azaidarith70 said, tak pernah bertangas. I never did it. I had one normal birth and 3 cesareans. I'm 55 now, and thank God, I'm still good. I think she means the state of her vagina is still good. Another one, Noor Asra Abdul. For 12 years, I've been a wife and give birth normally 2 times, never done it. I did Kegel exercises. That's good. Chapika said, during my first child, the confinement of my first child, I used a sitz bath and my stitches, I guess the stitches or wounds healed very fast. For the second one, I used tangas, but I felt itchy and not comfortable, and the healing also took a long time. Since then, I just stick to sitz bath. So what is bertangas? Let me show this video from CK Bidan. These are ways to bertangas. This is bidan 𝒕𝒖𝒓𝒂𝒏, and this is something called wet herbal steam. So they warm the water up in a clay pot with 7 kinds of herbs: lemongrass leaves, betel leaves, asam keping, tamarind, halia, turmeric, and ginger. Mix it all. And so she takes it off the fire. So now the water is hot but not boiling. And then the woman sits on a chair for 15 to 20 minutes. And here she claims it can detox, improve circulation, remove vaginal discharge, and help the uterus shrink back to its normal size. Only 15 to 30 minutes. And who can do this vaginal steaming? If you are already married or you're still a virgin, the best thing is to do it after your menstruation ends. For women who are in a confinement, so they just gave birth, the best thing is after the lochia has dried. So that's about 6 weeks actually after you give birth. Your postpartum bleeding will have definitely stopped. So it's not saying that you should do steaming in those first few days after you give birth. Like if you have stitches or wounds on your perineum or your labia, you should not be steaming. And for elderly women, you can do it 1 to 3 times a week. So I was looking up some journal articles about steaming. And this is not vaginal steaming, but this is just steaming in general. And this is a really old article. This is from 1900, you see here, in the Journal of Boston Medical Surgery. And the article is titled Steam. Can I make it bigger? Steam in the treatment of chronic hyperplastic and senile endometritis. That means a uterine infection. Putrid abortion. I'm assuming infection after a miscarriage or abortion done. And puerperal sepsis. So that is postpartum infection. When I went on duty at the Carney Hospital in the fall of 1898, I found Dr. Malcolm Storer had been and was using steam in the treatment of the various forms of uterine hemorrhage. This method of treatment appealed to me, and I began its use at once in the treatment of chronic endometritis and menorrhagia, so infections of the uterus. Concerning, and menorrhagia, I think it's like excessive bleeding. Could be postpartum or could be menstrual bleeding. Concerning this method, Professor Ederson thus writes, the method of arresting hemorrhage by steam was first employed by Tzighirev of Moscow in 1894 for profuse hemorrhage during the removal of an echinococcus cyst from the liver. Since then, experiments have shown that parenchymatous organs can be incised almost bloodlessly, and that hemorrhage from arteries the size of a dog's femoral can be quickly arrested by a steam jet. So here he's talking about an operation that was done and kind of like how cauterization or using something hot to stop bleeding from an artery or is here. Instead of that, they use steam. The technique is simple. A fenestrated uterine catheter is joined by a gutta percha tube to a small boiler. The steam issuing from it should be at 212 Fahrenheit. That's 100 degrees Celsius. Higher temperatures are advocated by some, but the author has never used them except in experiments on animals. In this way, dangerous uterine hemorrhage can be arrested permanently and painlessly without an anesthetic. And serious operations, for instance, hysterectomy for fibroid tumors, may often be avoided. The procedure differs according to the age of the patient. If the steam is allowed to set, was so small, for 2 minutes, exfoliation of the uterine mucous membrane follows, either en masse or piecemeal. A raw surface is left, which forms adhesions, which cause obliteration in the cavity and subsequent atrophy of the uterus, and hemorrhage is cured as certainly as though the uterus had been removed. In order to exclude cases which are unsuitable for this treatment, such as malignant tumors or placental remnants, the cervix must always be dilated first. Okay, so in this case, he's talking about a very specific way of treating uterine hemorrhage by using steam. Well, this is 1900. So there is this idea that steam is able to stop bleeding actually. And so I was searching some other articles and I found out that in 2015, Gwyneth Paltrow very famously promoted vaginal steaming. And this caused a few reactions. This article from Leiden Arts in Society blog talks about an article in 2019 in the Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology, Canada, which published a case of a woman who suffered second-degree burns on her uterus during vaginal steaming in an attempt to reduce prolapse. I do believe Bertangas does claim to cure prolapse. When I interviewed some women back in 2021, 2020, some traditional medical Malay practitioners did talk about this. This sparked attention on several media outlets warning about possible burning when undergoing the treatment. Vaginal steaming was popularized by, among others, actress Gwyneth Paltrow in a blog for her controversial lifestyle company back in 2015. So she talks about infrared and other detox spa treatments generally, and here he describes what is the practice of vaginal steaming. It involves sitting in a chair over a tub. So as we saw in the video just now, you have some herbs inside the steam, and then the steam helps the patient to relax, or it can be harmful. And here he talks about some ideas from classic civilization, like the Hippocrates. He talks about a humoral system of the body. So health is balance. Between hot and cold, wet and dry, hard and soft. So this humoral system is also something that is present in Chinese medicine and Malay medicine. Now, in the Hippocratic corpus of medical texts, there was one on the diseases of women. One is aimed at restoring the fertility of women, includes a vapor bath of laurel in a treatment in order to clear out phlegm from the uterus and bring out the menses. Treatment includes, Mole 132 discusses what to do when the womb has moved against the hip, impeding menstruation and the reception of sperm. Treatment includes a vapor bath with sweet-smelling ingredients, likely aiming to lure the errant womb back into place. Many of the ingredients used, furthermore, are associated with sex. A bottle gourd, elsewhere in the same treatise, explicitly associated with the penis, serves as the pipe of a vapor bath apparatus over which the patient should position herself. So similar to modern-day discourse, Hippocratic uterine vapor baths focus on monitoring fertility, revealing a female body reduced to its reproductive capacity. And there was also this idea of the inherent uncleanliness of the female body, especially that of the womb and pudenda, meaning the vulva. There was the need to clean or purify the womb and vagina. And some of these vapor baths, contain some, here you can read some of these ingredients, such as urine and so on, and herbs. All right, so his conclusion is that vapor baths does indeed turn out to be sorcery for your vagina. Article from Tycho Vandenberg and Virginia Brown. Basically, it's sorcery for your vagina, unpacking Western representations of vaginal steaming. He mentions again that Gwyneth Paltrow talked about vaginal steaming in 2015. And it labels it a female genital modification practice currently on offer in Anglo-Western nations. So this article analyzed different online accounts talking about vaginal steaming, and they concluded that there is an overarching theme of the self-improving woman, that the female body is dirty, contemporary life is harmful, and in order to physically optimize ourselves and enhance our health, you can do vaginal steaming. They conclude that online accounts of vaginal steaming appear both to fit within historical contemporary constructions. That means the past and present constructions of women's bodies as deficient and disgusting, and contemporary discourse around the constantly improving subject. Now, this is obviously very different because it's talking about Gwyneth Paltrow's vaginal steaming practice. But why do we see then throughout the years, the decades, and the centuries that vaginal steaming is a procedure across different civilizations? Back to Dr. Amalina's video, I think it could be something that's been done across many different civilizations. So perhaps there's some benefit or some truth to it. But as with all things, you can't really prove one way or another that it works or it doesn't work. I think there's some certain elements in the steaming that can be beneficial. And if anything at all, then the placebo effect of thinking that you are improving your body, you're improving your health, that has a big effect on your well-being as well. So that's it for today. See you in the next video.